It's time to return to the land of Podcast Beyond.
Beyond!
Hello, I am your host, Chris Roper, editor-in-chief of the IGN PlayStation team.
Was that recording, that little
thing? Yeah, it was recording.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
it is. That's my new way of introing, at least for this show. I got tired of saying welcome to this episode of Podcast Beyond.
Got to keep people on their toes.
We are on episode 32 now, though. And then today we have editor Jeff Haynes.
Hey.
And associate editor Ryan Clements.
Hey, what's going on?
Greg is off seeing a game in I don't even know where he is, somewhere in the U.S., though. Actually, might even be in Canada.
Where in the U.S. is Greg Miller?
Yeah, if you're near Greg and can find out where he is, text me or send me an email or whatever. And, we'll start a new thing of where in the U.S. is Greg Miller. It's pretty good. We'll get him a
theme song?
A little red hat. It'll be pretty good.
That'll work.
And a striped red shirt.
Yep. Let's start the show off how we always do with some.
I think we should start off with the Roper Report.
Let's do that.
Time for some news.
There's not a whole lot to talk about this week. I think a lot of people are saving their news for next week, which is GDC, which we'll come back to in a second.
What does GDC stand for?
What is that? I'll explain that when the segment begins.
Awesome.
I think most people know, but I'll tell you anyway. But anyway, as far as the news goes, last week Sony officially announced Flow for the PSP, which was sort of rumored a week beforehand, but that's in fact totally legit. The details that we have written down here, at least, is it's coming to the PC store as a download on March 6th. It has ad hoc play. There's no price set yet, but yeah, you can download it as opposed to going to the store. Twisted Metal is now also confirmed to be coming to the PS3. So what happened was... I
tried to find it so hard.
Ryan tried to find it. So what was it, a few weeks ago or a month ago, whatever, we had an interview with David Jaffe talking
only
about...
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, talking about Twisted Metal Head-On Extra Twisted Edition for the PS2, which came out last week. And he mentioned that there was a secret in there that would talk about the next project that they were doing, and people found the secret pretty quickly. In one of the documentaries in the game, there's a bunch of really cool stuff in the game. There's a whole lot of bonus features or whatever. In one of the documentaries, there is a hidden number. Then if you translate the numbers, it spells out to say Twisted Metal coming to PS3 or on PS3, something like that. Yeah. Anyway, and then people tracked him down at DICE, which was last week, and he said, yep, it is happening. So, yep.
Well,
Twisted
we were
Metal.
totally wrong. Remember when I was trying to find it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the clue at the end of the letter is just bogus. I was totally on a wild goose chase, but I tried.
Very good. Anyway, but so that's pretty exciting news. And the last bit that I have written down here is that this doesn't affect U.S. gamers because Sony is saying this doesn't have any sort of plans to bring it to the U.S. yet. But in Japan, Sony's releasing a satin silver PS3. That also comes out on March 6th. That's a big day for Sony releases, I suppose. It's going to be 40 gigs. They're also releasing a DualShock 3 in the same silver satin finish, although for whatever reason that does not come in the box, which whatever. So you can go buy that separately if you're in Japan. That's the third Japanese color, or third color of PS3 in Japan. There's the black one, there's the white one, and then now this one. And of course, in the US, we only have the white one. The black one.
I still think the black one looks the best for what the PS3 is, kind of the style.
The 2001 Obelisk.
Yeah, but I like the look of white systems these days. But we'll see. I think this gen is all white. Last gen was all black. Next gen might be purple.
That would be awesome.
We already had
GameCube style.
I guess Nintendo was a couple generations ahead of the curve.
Well, the Xbox kind of had...
Transparent could be the next wave. Next time could be transparent with like some LED lights on the inside.
Yep. Get on it.
It'll look like street lights on your car. What do you call those things?
The headlights?
No, not headlights.
The things underneath.
Yeah. The things
right.
The pimp lights.
Yeah, the pimp lights. And it look like that. Your PS3, it's got little like feet, so it stands up off the carpet, and you got a little pimp light under there to get you plenty of light dispersion on there.
Although there have been a couple case mods that have shown off stuff like that, so I'm pretty sure that could be done.
See, sometimes though those see-through transparent cases can look really cheap. Like if it's done by a third-party person, it can often
if it's done first party, they have all their production time in it, and the system, a lot of the third-party things, their of course, they have to fit the original, shape and design of the system. But if Sony's going, hey, we're going to make our thing transparent, let's make the design and shape of the case look cool while it's transparent. I don't know. We'll see.
It has to talk to you also. I think they should introduce like a system voice.
It has to be Kit, is what you're saying?
Or when you turn it on, it's like activating PS3.
That would be kind of sick. But it should also come with a robot that can play games with you.
Ibo. It should be an Ibo.
We can call him Bob. let's get moving on. That's that one's gone a little bit too long.
Exactly.
Jeff, why don't you tell us what games are coming out this week?
Indeed.
Start
This
with the title.
the official IGN list of upcoming PlayStation software on all 3 platforms by the IGN editors. Hey. Apparently, I got
The hot chocolate drinking almost just came out my nose. I love that extended remix.
Yeah. Apparently, because the Grammys were last night, I get an extra
Holy
flourish.
crap. Okay, before we get to this list, I got to say, I didn't watch the Grammys at all because I think that's the worst award show on TV, pretty much.
Yeah.
I was looking at the list on, I don't know, MSN or whatever about the people who won, and it was like, I don't know if this was correct, but on the site there, they had it broken down by pop awards, then pop rock R&B awards, so the same people were winning the same awards. Then they have best album and best record. Mm-hmm. What the hell is the difference between a record and album?
I actually know this. The thing is that like an album is the entire body of work that happens to be like a CD or an album that you get on like vinyl, versus a record, which is a one-track song. So they break it out like...
That should be best single.
Or best track,
You'd think, but the thing is
Something.
that they're still going off of the really, really old recording artist way of going like, here's a new record that you'd have on like a jukebox, and that's the way that they keep constantly referring to it a single as a record.
I also tell you, on a bunch of those awards, I had no idea who the people were that were awarded stuff, and also there were a bunch of awards that there was somebody in there that had been making music for 20 years or more. They won. There was a category Prince was in, so he won. There's a category Bruce Springsteen was in. I think he won that one. It's like if you're old and you're releasing music, you're going to win.
You're probably going to get it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, let's go back on with the official IGN list of upcoming PlayStation software on all 3 platforms by the IGN editors.
I'm digging that flourish. Anyway, there aren't that many games coming out this week. It's basically only about 6 or 7. PS3 is getting Conflict Denied Ops. PS2 has the lion's share of it with Innocent Life, a Futuristic Harvest Moon Special Edition, Iridium Runners, and Jumper. Tie in with that movie. And the PSP is getting Chessmaster, The Art of Learning, and Wipeout Pulse.
That is 6 games. I counted.
There you go. 6.
It's all 6 games. Let's just go right into pick of the week then, since we got those games. I haven't played Wipeout myself yet, but I think that's kind of an easy bet for
yeah, definitely.
Pick of the week,
It's a lot of fun. If you're a Wipeout fan, you're really going to enjoy it. You know, it's deep. It's very deep. I've been playing it for a couple weeks, and it's a really, really fun game.
Hillary and Bradvig really don't like the name of Conflict Denied Ops.
I think it's stupid, too. Denied Ops, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
You understand exactly what they're trying to go for, but you think they could have just come up with a better name.
Well, you call it Conflict Black Ops.
Yeah, Black Ops.
That's a way better name. I don't know. All these games...
Black Bag, Secret Missions.
The whole colon thing is getting aggravating to me.
Yeah, and there's too many games that are
something colon the awesome.
There's too many games with the words like ops and conflict, and all these games kind of get lost, and you have no idea what the hell game you're talking about.
I'm just waiting for a game like a Stalker that's going to have like colons between every letter of the title.
Well, Twisted Metal was kind of a victim of that also, because it had Twisted Metal, colon,
that was
head-on,
colons and hyphens.
extra twisted. With
but that's kind of rad because the game's whole style and whatever is
kind
ridiculous.
of over the top.
Yeah.
So it works for that.
And it was also kind of a port that also had hidden things and old levels and everything else. So I was like, what else are you going to do?
It was the name of the game and the way that it was written sort of gave you a hint as to what was in there, because they had extra crap and then more extra crap and then more extra crap on top of it. So it's like,
that's true.
Right.
I suppose that's probably how they approached the naming process there.
Let's move on to topic of the week.
Toe. Remix.
That one was great. I love that
I like
one.
that.
All right, Ryan, you're going to be the official theme song maker for all of our segments. That's pretty good.
We're going to start calling you Kanye now.
Yeah, keep up the remixes for the rest of this episode, and then we'll have. And then anybody listening to this, go on. Somebody start a forum post, a boards post, and then start talking about which of the remixes that you like the best. And
I have to think of like 6 songs.
No, just do it as they come to you, and then we'll implement the cool ones into the show, and then the other ones maybe go back to the drawing board on. You guys,
a lot of those are going to be going back to the drawing board.
You guys can act as our producer, our Rick Rubin per se, and tell us which ones are good. Anyway, topic of the week. Next week is GDC. And as a warning right now, I'll mention this again at the end if I remember, but we're still trying to figure out what we're going to be doing about the show next week, because We have all for President's Day, which is Monday, and then the rest of the week is GDC. So we're going to
This coming Monday?
Yeah, this next
I didn't
Monday.
even know we had a Monday off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Does the GDC start then, though?
Yeah, well, there's some stuff there, but we're nothing involving Sony stuff, so
Okay,
we're fine.
I see.
Anyway, so we may or may not have a show. Then maybe we'll do it Friday, but I don't know about that. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll skip a week and we'll come back with all kinds of GDC goodness. But anyway, today's topic of the week is we're going to talk about GDC, what we think Sony's going to be doing there, what we expect to see. We have some meetings set up with some games, but I don't think that we're allowed to talk about any of those yet, so we're going to kind of skip them. But we are going to see some games that we've been seeing some media updates for recently that should be pretty cool. Speaking on the first-party Sony stuff, you should be seeing a fair bit of updates on Tuesday. I can't tell you exactly what games are going to be there because last that I heard from Sony, they were saying, we're not quite sure exactly, the final list. But Sony's going to open up basically their thing to the media on Tuesday around lunchtime. So we're going to go in there, we're going to play a bunch of games, and so we should have some updates for you starting in the afternoon, going up through the night. So that should be pretty cool. There is no Sony keynote this year, though. No press conference of any sort. So
it's kind of sad.
Well, it's kind of strange, actually.
It is kind of strange because last year was such a big show where they announced Home, they announced Little Big Planet, and all these things, and the night before they had like a pre-keynote thing or pre-press conference thing, which is weird. But they showed a small little clip of the Killzone engine running, although at that point it looked like crap. It looked way better at E3. I think the engine thing was not actually the full thing, and they kind of. Phil Harrison said, this is not the real deal. Don't take this as Killzone. Everybody didn't believe him and whatever. And, I'm glad he was correct on that. But anyway, that's beside the point. But so Sony did all these things last year, and this year it seems very low-key. There are going to be a bunch of games at this thing on Tuesday, but, it seems like there's not really going to be, any big detailed thing. I think that we might see an announcement or two, but I don't think that we're going to see, like last year we had... we saw the Home presentation, we saw the Little Big Planet presentation, so you said, here's 10 minutes of the game, here's what it looks like, we'll explain how things work. There's not really, any place for them to do that this year, So I think all the games that we're going to see, I would imagine, are, anyway, stuff that we can play are going to have been announced games, and so we'll just have basically updates on those. But then I don't know what we're going to do about, new content.
Yeah, it's kind of odd because, basically for the past 2 years, Sony's kind of rolled out a lot of their strategies as to what they were doing. I mean, even the year before, 2006's GDC, they had they showed off MotorStorm. They went into their whole PSN global structure and how they were going to start approaching things. They went into a lot of their online plans. It's kind of odd, especially now that a lot of people are considering, the high-def war is dead, the format war is dead, and Blu-ray is the winner, that Sony's not coming out with something like that.
Which, by the way, on an aside, Netflix announced today they're not carrying, or they're going to phase out HD DVD, so they're going to be doing Blu-ray, which is,
Which
cool.
is just another nail in the coffin.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's kind of odd that Sony isn't, capitalizing on that momentum, capitalizing on the fact that the PS3 is easily the cheapest and most versatile Blu-ray player out there, and it has all these other things with a huge lineup that people are expecting. And so you kind of wonder what exactly they have up their sleeve, because that they're going to bring out something. It's just where exactly they're going to wind up doing it, since they're not doing a keynote. As far as we know, they don't have any press releases planned unless they're going to start, releasing it on the blog. And it's just one of those things that every now and then you just pull up their blog and bam, there's some huge release that they've just decided to release to smaller people.
And most of the parties that they're holding don't seem to be showing off any games. They're just social events, right? From what we've been able to see so far.
Well, that or networking or whatever
networking
else.
Or stuff.
Yeah, it's certainly a very low-key setup for Sony here. I think that we're going to see some sort of announcements. We're going to see, maybe a new firmware update, which will bring a couple new features in there. That could be kind of cool. But I'm guessing that's going to be about the extent we're going to go. Maybe we'll see a release date for a couple games, or maybe they'll say, hey, guess what? Killzone 2 beta is coming. You can download it in July or whatever. I don't know. Who knows? I think we'll see something along those lines, or we'll see announcements, but not presentations like we did last year.
Right.
Which is sort of disappointing because I like the GDC as like the, E3 for me is too crazy. There's way too much stuff to do. But GDC is great because you get an hour's worth of content and you write up all these things, and there's a lot of stuff in there, and then you can spend the next couple months talking about it and getting updates on all that kind of stuff. And I'm kind of sad that we're not going to get that sort of thing this year, but. maybe Sony has bigger plans already for E3 this year and is kind of holding off for that.
That's true. Although I have to admit that I expected that they probably would have done something more on home, especially because home was such a huge part of last year's show, and it seems like one of the ideas that Sony's had over the past couple of years has been that they'll tease one big thing that they're really focused on at one show, and then the next year's show, whether it's GDC or E3, they follow it up with something that's a little bit more in depth. So even though they showed a few of those elements last year, when the beta slipped and when the actual release slipped from last fall to at some point this year, you kind of had a feeling that GDC was going to be one of those big things where it's like, okay, the closed beta is finished. We're now going into the open beta. Here's when you're going to be able to sign up for it or whatever else.
That very well could happen. That could be the kind of thing I'm talking about, where Sony makes that one announcement that's pretty big, and they say, hey, guess what? You can all try out home now. And then there you go.
Where would they make that announcement, though, if there's no keynote? What would they do?
Just send a press release.
It could be a press release of the blog. But, I mean, I would have thought that considering that they've done whatever it is that they're doing with home, that might have been one of the huge, selling points or one of the big, excuse me, one of the big things that they would lead into with any kind of GDC presentation, and especially because everybody really is wondering just what exactly they're doing with it, especially now that we started to see accomplishments or achievements with the PS3 or whatever they're going to be called. Mm-hmm. So we have some sense that that's going to be integrated somehow into home. We already know that the trophy room still technically is there, but we don't know necessarily if that's changed, if any of the other areas in home have changed, what some of the functionality is. So you kind of you hope and you kind of keep your fingers crossed that next week there's going to be a large amount of stuff coming up that we're all going to be expecting related to home and kind of the early part of this year as far as PS3 is concerned.
So now here's an interesting aside, I think, is that we have games like Turok out now that has accomplishments in it or whatever they're calling it.
Same with DMC4.
And DMC4 has the same sort of thing. So you got to look at it and say, if these are the first games that have this, more games can't be too far behind. Mm-hmm. Which, okay, a couple of games come out before the actual system itself is ready. That's fine, but you can't go months and months with all these games coming out. So it's got to be around the corner. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's some sort of announcement that they're going to make at GDC. They're going to say, hey, here's an update. All of a sudden, you've got these things going, and maybe home is tied into that or not. Maybe it's just outside of it. Maybe there's an official place where you can go and look at what you've collected. That could be an interesting update. I don't know what the chances are of that, but it's got to happen at some point pretty soon because games are starting to roll out with it.
Yeah, you'd have to hope. I mean, especially considering that even last fall you had things like Uncharted, NBA 08, Ratchet. I mean, some of these had achievement structures where depending upon what you got, you still unlock things within the game. It wasn't accomplishments or achievements the way that we consider them in the sense of Xbox Live or even what we expect with home, but games are putting them out there, and they're even putting it out with structure.
Have an actual
they've got accomplishments,
system,
and they're actually basically termed accomplishments in the game.
Yeah, they are.
So it's there, and we all know it's coming. It's just when, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later.
Yeah, the longer that Sony waits, the kind of less impact that it has, because you're like, well, I've already played all these games that didn't have it, and they need to get it in there as soon as possible. So I'm glad games are starting to show up with it.
And there has to be some kind of way of figuring out what exactly the impact is, because everybody knows you get it with your gamer score with Xbox Live, so maybe there'll actually be some kind of figuring out on how it works with PSN.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that tucked away into a corner somewhere in GDC there's going to be a game that we haven't heard of, is completely new, that it's just kind of a surprise for us?
Sure, I think we're going to see a PlayStation title or two. That'll be pretty cool. I think that has... For a show like GDC, I think the PlayStation Network has the best chance of having something very cool show up at unexpected.
Okay, a downloadable title then?
Yeah, downloadable title.
That and also just glimpses into people that have been working on it. I mean, I know last year I attended one of the postmortems on Flow, and they were just going over why they came up with the game and how they were approaching it, and you got a really good sense of how people were doing things. So
that's such a depressed way of putting it.
No,
post-mortem.
That's just the term, but it's really a fertile ground for developers, especially for a PSN type setting, to come up with all these things and network with people so that they can get their ideas on the PSN.
Now one of the readers is going to go on the boards and he's going to be like, "Flow is dead. It is confirmed by Jeff Haynes."
Yes, I killed it before it came out on the PSP.
I'm just saying.
Strange things have happened.
It's a possibility.
Yeah. Just like Chris killed Clover.
I didn't kill Clover.
Yeah.
What?
Jesus.
Don't worry about it.
It's a long
story, and we'll tell you later.
All right.
Yeah, that one. I stand by my review. If you know what we're talking about, and then I stand by that review 100%. I do not. Yeah, but that whole thing got out of control. Anyway, any final thoughts on GDC and what you want to see there, Ryan? Let's do this. If you could see one announcement made by Sony, something reasonable,
announcement or game.
Announcement, game, whatever you want.
Okay.
Just one thing, and it has to be reasonable. You can't say PS3 is now free. That's not going to happen. So something reasonable.
Was their next
With
plan.
ice cream.
What do you think would be the best thing for them to do?
I think it's absolutely highly unlikely, but it would be very awesome if they had some sort of quick playable demo of one of the Final Fantasies that's going to be coming up on PS3.
That's the kind of impossible thing that I was talking about.
But that's not told because we've seen a ton of trailers. They at least must have something, some little tiny, like a single level.
That's not happening.
No.
Pick something else. I demand that you pick
totally
something else.
possible.
That's not possible.
No,
Well,
it's not.
keep in mind I still haven't played Little Big Planet or Killzone or anything, so I'm just want to get some hands-on time on that and just see how it's coming along.
Okay, so you want to see playable games there?
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
your big thing. Jeff, what do you want to see?
Including the Final Fantasy 13 level.
You know what? I think that one of the biggest things is going to be like a revamping of the XMB, whether that happens to be like in-game XMB finally announced and when it's coming, or something very specific as far as home is concerned, where that's detailed. And I think the third thing is probably something related to their release schedule, as far as like their big games, Killzone, GT.
You guys are breaking all kinds of rules. I say it's something realistic. Ryan says playable Final Fantasy 13.
I didn't say
then
the whole game had to be playable.
And then I say,
single level
and then I
is
say
easy.
pick one thing, and then Jeff picks three. I'm going to pick one thing, and I'm going to say an update in some fashion on home. I'm going to say either they say the beta is coming out right now, you can play it now, or whatever. I'm going to say there's going to be some sort of home update, which...
Then the whole conference room empties so everyone can play home at home.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you might as well go home and play it.
Whee!
All right, let's see. Let's move on to some reader mail.
Milko?
Do you want me to do a song for this one too?
Yeah.
Milko? Train milk? Male female?
Mail call.
Mailman?
Mailbag. Male female. Mail call. It's mail call time.
I didn't like where that one started, but I thought it ended pretty strong. I especially like the very last part. All right, let's see. 2779 says, "What would we like to see in a new Soul Calibur game, or in the new Soul Calibur? Since we already know Soul Calibur 4 is coming."
Less Star Wars characters.
I think that's one.
Yeah.
I frankly, I just don't think it's going to fit.
No,
And
it's really stupid.
It just doesn't make any sense.
I would not ever say that Star Wars didn't have a fantastic influence on the science fiction genre, and I know they're very important movies. I just personally am not a huge fan, like, of the films. Like, I think they're cool and everything, but I'm not like a hardcore fan, and so I don't really care that Darth Vader and Yoda are in there. I would have rather seen some sort of like cool comic book characters or something that that have more relevance to me.
Well, granted, it's a fighting series about like magical swords and all this other crap. So having
the soul of history commences as swords vie for the history place.
Exactly. So having two Jedi with lightsabers fighting isn't that far of a stretch. But just having Yoda and Darth Vader in there just completely blows out everybody else. It's ridiculous. Ryan,
we didn't really answer that question, but we're going to move on. Flying Piranha 2K4,
which is an awesome name.
Who hasn't? I guess there hasn't been an update to that in 4 years. Will we really get PS3 games with PSP mobility options in them, or is this just a rumor? We already have them. The latest is Pixel Junk Monsters. Mm-hmm. You can play that one wirelessly.
Which works relatively well. I mean, it's not perfect. It's definitely not.
You have to. There's some concessions there. Like the screen's gonna be smaller and the frame rate's a little iffy, but but it does work. It's not gonna work ever for a shooter because
the first time I did that, I was playing on one of the ice levels that I had never played on before. So when I first played on the PSP, and I was like, "Oh my God, why am I sliding around like this? PSP is terrible." And then I was like, "Oh, it's just the ice."
Very good.
It was awesome.
Anyway, that's coming. We're going to see more of those. But the thing is, it has to. It only work with certain genres of games. Anything that requires too much twitch or whatever won't really work very well because of the lag. So there you go. Bobby with a 0 says, why do all multi-console games featured on the IGM Home mostly take me to the Xbox 360 link first? I'll tell you just for readers the way they know how this works in case anybody else is wondering. For the top story at least, whoever wrote the article pretty much gets credit for it. So if I write the article, or Jeff or Ryan or whatever, it's going to get linked to the PS3 page, or if Hill or Eric or Nate / Bill S. Preston Esquire writes an article, it'll go to the 360 page. So that's why sometimes it goes to PS3, sometimes it goes to 360. And now you know, and knowing's half the battle.
G.I. Joe.
Flunky44 says, is there
my job.
Is there any cool new PS3 to PSP integration coming soon that you guys are aware of? Not that I'm aware of. Again, that could be something at GDC, but I think Sony's kind of, from what I would guess, is they've kind of looked at it and said, well, we've done a fair bit with this, and you can copy saves and all kinds of stuff, and let's spend our time making the game instead of all these crazy functionality things that don't really aren't used all that often. We'll spend our time on things that are more widely used. But anyway, the Daedric Prince sent in a bunch of questions. I'm going to pick 2 of them here. One says, where do you think the next Uncharted game will take place? I don't think we can possibly answer this question because otherwise it would have been a charted area that we know about. And therefore it would go against the name of the game.
Yes.
So I'm going to say the answer is
Uncharted in Africa somewhere.
Yeah. I think something in the Bermuda Triangle would be kind of cool. But
I could see him going after Atlantis.
Yeah, Atlantis would be kind of neat too. Although, yeah, and I guess that's actually.
I really hope
that is Uncharted.
That would be Uncharted.
Highly
Nobody would know
science
where it was.
fiction.
And the Prince also wants to know when will we hear more about the DualShock 3 in the U.S. I don't know that we really need to hear more about the DualShock 3. I mean, we need to know exactly when it's coming out, of course. But the controller's out in Japan. It's the 6-axis with Rumble. There's not really a whole lot to talk about other than when it's coming out.
And then whatever the actual backwards Rumble feature would be rolled out via update, and that's something nobody knows.
So, there's not really anything to report on until they announce a date, which maybe, that could be another GDC thing.
And a lot of games are already, if you go into the options menu,
a lot of games
Vibration's already there.
Uncharted's already in there. Yeah, so,
we're just waiting on the controller now.
Yeah, there's not really anything else to talk about it for. So, John GPR says, are any of you hardcore I said MSG fans?
I love Chinese food.
Are any of you hardcore MGS4 fans? Jeff is.
Yeah,
and Ryan Ryan thinks the game's pretty decent. And Greg does, but Greg's not here. If so, what plot points from the other 2 games are you looking forward to being resolved?
Oh God!
No spoilers.
Let's pick just 2 things real fast.
That's huge. Obviously, I'm really interested in finding out more about Sunny and Olga because Olga was one of the ones from MGS2, and Sunny is her daughter, which obviously in my TGS jet lag state I forgot and got an insane amount of grief for. So that's one of the things that I'm definitely interested in finding out. I think another one from MGS2 is primarily a lot of the stuff that Snake was talking about with the Patriots at the tail end of the game. Primarily their influence. I mean, it's obvious that the guns of the Patriots are going to feature in heavily within this one, and it's primarily finding out what exactly the organization has been doing or what they've expanded to with this future setting that the game's going to be in. That's probably the easiest 2 that I could think of off the top of my head.
There you go. I said very go, as in there you go and very
good.
While I was reading the next question, I need to stop doing that. Argent Gamer 123 says, if the IGN PlayStation team were to destroy London with some sort of mutant monster, describe its powers and its physical appearance.
I would not do that. I like London.
Okay, well, if you had to destroy... Okay, let's not say London. Let's say
obviously be Amy Winehouse on drugs and mutant toxic...
You're going Amy Winehouse. I'm gonna go with the monster that you can't actually see because it's essentially a black hole, and it eats itself in, and arms of black hole come out. They're very localized, so they don't just suck up everything on the Earth. But these black arms come in, and basically they're like shadow, and they just everything around them sucks into it. I think that would be awesome.
Cool, but how would you fight against that thing?
You can't. It's undefeatable.
But that takes away the charm of just barely surviving.
The only thing is it can't survive. It can't swim, so it can't survive in the ocean. So you have to basically wait until it eats the entire continent that it starts on, and then it's defeated itself.
See, I thought that you were thinking about the superconductor or the super collider they have in Europe that they've theorized if they spin it up at high speed, it will create a black hole and basically destroy all life around it.
I've heard of this. Yeah,
So that's what I thought you were alluding to at first.
I think they are creating the monster that I'm talking
Accidental Europe self
about. Ryan, what is your monster to create or to destroy some
Our
random
fictional city.
Your fictional city,
The
which is
Cloverfield
actually
monster.
The Cloverfield monster.
Yeah, I like that movie a lot.
Okay, we're not going to ruin it for
Right.
people that haven't seen it.
There is a monster in the movie. Spoilers.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Wag My Cigar says, this is a fantastic question.
Fantastic meme.
Can a Jedi kill Superman with a lightsaber?
I saw that. I was wondering about that.
very
good, yeah.
fascinating question.
We're gonna find out if Superman is in the
Yes.
next Soul Calibur.
Why
I
not?
don't think so. I don't think they could do it.
Is
Now, okay.
Superman impervious to lasers?
Well, now here's the okay.
Or
Let's
the Force.
So Superman clearly could deflect a lightsaber coming at him. With all kinds of different abilities. So let's say the Superman has his back turned, and it's a dark Jedi or something. He's a Sith, and so he's just going to cut him in half. Can that happen? Can the lightsaber actually cut Superman in half, or kill him, or stab him, or
I
whatever?
feel like it really just depends on the tenacity of his iron skin.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me, but I'm just thinking about using Force powers. I mean, Force lightning, Force choke.
I think that he
Force
can handle that
push,
stuff.
There's so many.
Okay, ignoring all those things because Superman can defend against any of those, and all those things would basically just push him or choke. You can't choke Superman. So
you just have to think of the Force as like using telekinesis. So like it would just be like someone just trying to choke him. It wouldn't work because his neck is too strong.
But I mean,
and he would also immediately realize because you can't choke Superman instantly, so he would realize what was happening, and then just punch you into oblivion.
All right, but
eyes.
I'm just thinking like if you had a dark Jedi with dark powers, even if you go into like a setup like KOTOR, and you've got all of these things, or even Force Unleashed. There's some stuff there that a Jedi might be able to do that Superman might not be able to.
I don't believe that
combat.
at all. I'm going to say
or they
though,
could just rip kryptonite and throw it into him or something.
I'm going to say that a lightsaber could not cut Superman because here's my theory on this one. Superman's flying out there in space. He's using the power of the sun to harness himself. So he's using light and energy and all that kind of stuff like that. So it seems to me that a lightsaber is. I mean, I could be wrong here. I'm not a crazy Star Wars fan, so I don't know. I love the movies, but I don't know anything about how the lightsabers actually work aside from there's crystals and whatever else. But anyway, so if I'm assuming right that it's basically just energy and light and all that is a lightsaber, then it seems to me to be a lot like the sun, which then gives Superman strength. So maybe if you tried to cut him with a lightsaber, you would just empower him more, and then he would kill you faster.
I'd say here's my quick take on it. I think that it would definitely like not go right through him, but I think it would hit and start like burning him. Like it would be like kind of searing his it would actually cause damage. And if you held it there and pushed down long enough, it would start like kind of smoldering through.
I don't believe it.
No, I think that I'm most accurate.
Somebody get Smallville.
You're far off inaccurate. Jurgross says, what did you do while DMC installed on your PS3? I haven't played the game yet, so.
Personally, I listened to music, I drank a beer, and I actually well, here's the thing.
I roughed some people up.
No,
That's how I roll.
It's kind of funny because Chris Kramer mentioned in a blog post that you go you drink a drink, you fix a sandwich and whatever else, and by that time it's done. And I installed it on my PS3 probably about a month and a half before he even posted that, and I actually did the exact same thing. I had a sandwich, I drank a beer, and I listened to some music, and by the time I was finished with all of it, it was done. And so it was kind of funny to actually see him say that like a few weeks later.
It was even quicker when I did the debug install and we had the debug copy, and then when Mike from Database brought a retail copy home, it took I think under 20 minutes.
No, it does.
It was so quick. I just had my PSP and I was like, oh, it's done already, hooray!
Yeah, the retail one is a lot faster than the debug one, but I think that's just because it had a lot of other stuff it needed to check with debug settings.
Guess what?
That's it for mail call.
We're out of mail.
Oh,
Mail call.
Oh, well.
mail done.
Mail done. Oh yeah, mail done.
Ryan, will gamers be able to play against you and Greg this week? Any game on their PlayStation 3 online?
Probably. I think I might be too busy, and I have no idea what Greg's schedule is.
You need to say that in the voice.
Yeah, and is
Personally,
there
I think that if I do the
Editor
voice
Beatdown?
every week, it's going to be annoying. And
I think it's going to be
I'd like
awesome
to save
if you do
it.
the week. No, I think
I'd just like to save it for when
Damn
we
it.
actually have a beatdown.
Is there
I don't
even
like
a
this at
theme
all.
for Editor Beatdown?
No, because the theme is the voice.
I was
That's
thinking
what makes
about
it
trying
unique.
to do a metal theme because the voice is very deep and scratchy. So I was
Then
going
you
to
might
then I might
do
blow
the
out
death
my.
metal.
I was gonna, well, Or maybe you could just do my intro for me.
All right. Well, maybe we'll come up with a death metal intro for that.
What about Around the Room? You want to do that?
What about Around the Room?
Whatever. Well, Greg's not here, but
I had a song for it.
all right. Well, let's do Around the Room so you do the song.
Around the room, around the room, around the room, around
right, so-
the room, around
All
the
right,
room.
Ryan, let's start with you so that you stop singing.
Thank you.
What? All right. So what are we doing on today's Around the Room? Is this what you're playing, or is
I
this
was just going to do what you're reviewing now and what you're reviewing next. And
Sure.
right now I'm reviewing Dungeon Explorer for PSP, and next I'm going to be tackling Dynasty Warrior 6.
Very good. Jeff?
Fun. I'm going to be reviewing Wipeout Pulse tomorrow and Check Back Friday because our exclusive Patapon review will be going up on
Or
Friday.
Para Putapon, as Greg likes to call it.
Yeah, but I actually know how to pronounce the game title.
I personally, I'm waiting for it to come in, but I should be getting Chess Master, The Art of Learning, in the next day or so. So I'll be reviewing that next. And then after that is a big one, the biggest PSP game anytime soon, which you can figure out yourself. Probably doesn't matter if I mention it, but yeah, we'll just let it go.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Kind of like Chia Pet.
Wow, I haven't seen a Chia Pet commercial
Man,
in 5 years.
Here's the thing, though. No matter how long it's been since you've seen a Chia Pet commercial,
still
the
know
whole
the
thing
song.
is right there in your head. You can just imagine the entire commercial. You know, like it's like time delay. You see the thing growing, but it's not real. It's not good time delay.
Right.
They just have pictures like every couple days, so that the sprouts come up, but it's like
a bad stop motion.
Yeah, it's like a framey. You know, imagine if it has like frame rate issues of the playback. You know, it's pretty good. And then it's like,
do they still make those? Do you
Oh,
think?
yeah.
oh hell yeah, they have all
And then
kinds
like
of.
all these different
They have like a
figures and crap.
Scooby-Doo Afro one or something.
They've got the Shaggy Afro and all these other weird
And
things.
they also now have, I don't know if this is by the Chia Pet or people themselves, but they have cat grass that's like chia. It's like chia cat grass.
Yeah.
Sounds like
And
a
it
new
basically-
drug on the streets.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Get some cat grass.
it grows and then your cat eats the grass and is happy, or I don't know what the hell happens. My cat doesn't eat anything, so she won't eat it.
That'd be great if
But,
it was in the
It's supposed
shape
to
of
help
someone's
like their
head,
digestion or something
and
like
the
that.
cat goes up and starts gnawing at the thing's head, and it's like, oh no.
My cat doesn't do
Alright.
it. My cat licks its
Oh, I
toys.
didn't know you had a cat.
Yeah, her name is Kitty.
Kitty. Kitty the cat.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that comes to the end of the show here. Okay, programming notes. I said I'd mentioned this earlier. As again, next week, we're still TBD on what we're going to do about a show. We may skip it if time does not help. We're booked solid on Tuesday, so that's not going to work, and we're off on Monday. So maybe we'll do it Friday, but, hold your horses. If not, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks, and we'll have a GTC post, wrap-up, update, whatever the hell. So that should be fun.
Yo.
Anything else? I think that's the end of the show then.
That's it. Song time?
Let's do the
I
song.
think so.
I've got another Beatles song because that's what people expect from me. And I don't think it's very repetitious because Greg does his thing most of the time. Gives a lot of great variety. Then I give my Beatles songs.
Okay.
All right.
I love that
I
you're
can buy
justifying
that.
this, dude.
Yeah.
I can buy that.
Well, it's because Roper and I were having a discussion about it right before we came in. I always laugh right before the song starts. Do 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 do.
What the hell?
What the? Do, do,
I didn't say a single word.
do. Building up cobwebs, taking up space. Many years till now. Do 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 do. Will you still be playing any games with me? Shadow of Colossus and MGS3. If I break down and fail to boot up, what would you choose to do? Do 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 do. Will you still save me? Will you still play me? Little PS2. Ooh.
Come on, keep it together.
Still see it through.
He's cracking himself up.
And if you say the word, I could play with you. Doom, 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 doom. Ding, 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 ding. I could be handy with DVDs when your
All
play
right, I'm going
is
to run out the
done.
show if you keep going. So again, maybe we'll see you next week. Maybe we'll see you in 2 weeks. But next week is GDC, so expect a good bit of coverage from new games and whatever else. So check out the site next week, and we will see you guys very soon.
Will you still save me? Will you still play me? Little PS2.